Hello guys, here I am Ranjalin from Christian College of Physiotherapy. Today also we are going to present a new model anatomy video regarding skull. So let's keep watching guys and make yourself perfect.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, come in.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, tell me your roll number.
7919229.
Okay, take your place.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you know about skull?
Yes, ma'am.
Then tell me there are how many bones in the skull?
Mom, skull is made up of 22 bones. It has 8 cranial bones and 14 fascial bones.
Well, can you name the bones?
Yes, ma'am. The cranial bones are frontal bone, which is located in the top front of the skull, 2 parietal bones located on the top of the skull, 2 temporal bone located on the sides of the skull and near the parietal bone, 2 occipital bone located on the back of the skull, sphenoid bone with extended wings is located in the inner part of the skull, and erythmoid bone which also located in the inner part of the skull, and the fascial bones include 2 nasal bones located between the eye sockets, 2 maxillary bones which extends background from in the front of the upper jaw and the bottom portion of the eye orbits, 2 zygomatic bone which form the front outer portion of the eye socket, the mandible which is the lower jaw bone, 2 lacrimal bone located on the front inner portion of the eye orbit, 2 palatine bone located on the back of the upper jaw, 2 inferior nasal concha located on the inner side wall of the nasal cavity, and the vomer bone located in the nasal concha.
Good, tell me about the ear bones.
The 6 ear bones are very small and structures include 2 malleus bone, 2 incus bone and 2 stapes bone.
Okay, what is sutures of skull?
Sutures are fibrous joint which connects 2 bones.
There are how many sutures in the skull?
Totally there are 17 sutures in the skull. They are: frontonasal suture, between the frontal bone and nasal bones; frontozygomatic suture, between the frontal bone and zygomatic bone; zygomatic maxillary suture, between zygoma and the maxilla; intermaxillary suture, between 2 maxilla; metopic suture, found in children; on the midline of the frontal bone; sagittal suture, between 2 parietal bones; lambdoid suture, between the parietal bone and occipital bone; lambda, convergence of the sagittal and lambdoid suture; coronal suture, between the frontal bone and the parietal bone; bregma, convergence of the sagittal and coronal sutures; lateral aspect of skull; squamous suture, between the parietal bone and temporal bone; sphenofrontal suture, between the frontal bone and sphenoid bone; sphenoparietal suture, between the sphenoid bone and parietal bone; occipitomastoid suture, between the occipital bone and mastoid process of the temporal bone; temporozygomatic suture, between the temporal bone and zygomatic bone; median palatine suture, between the horizontal plates of the palatines; transverse palatine suture, between the palatine process of the maxillary bone and the palatine bone; petrooccipital suture, between the occipital bone and petrous part of the temporal bone; spheno-occipital suture, between the sphenoid bone and occipital bone; petrosquamous suture, between the petrous and squamous parts of the temporal bone; pilrotympanic suture, between the temporomandibular joint and the tympanic cavity.
Very good, Nelson. You may leave now.
Thank you, ma'am.